You're ugly and stupid, and I hate you.
Welcome to the RC Roundtable podcast, where we discuss the latest RC hobby news, events, model reviews, and a whole lot more. Well, greetings, fellow modelers and modelees. Welcome to the RC Roundtable, episode 205. 205. We've done this 205-ish or more times.
Yeah.
We're just getting started.
I like to think so.
What is it Churchill says? Isn't that the beginning of the end, but the end of the beginning? Or something like that?
Yes. Yeah. Something like that.
Anyways. Well, gentlemen, how you doing?
We're doing okay. Yeah.
All right.
I'm okay.
Cramming.
Oh,
last minute.
So are we going to talk about that now, or are we going to save it for later?
Save it. Savor that moment.
Okay.
Make people stay and listen.
Okay, because I have no idea what you guys are talking about. So,
All right, good.
keep secrets from me.
If Fitz would just listen to this podcast, he'd know what's going on.
Yeah, right.
I listen, but I don't remember so many things. There's so much stuff I have to listen to on a day-by-day basis. It's amazing that I know what the heck day it is.
It's just white noise.
It's just so much. My life, I don't want to get into it, but my life is meetings.
No, listen.
Endless meetings.
The RC Roundtable Psychology podcast.
Yes.
We're listening.
Okay.
Well,
anyways.
Well, before we get too deep into this one, I noticed on here, Lee, that you have a working title for this episode. B is for Bomber. I was working on some titles earlier today, too. And so maybe I thought we could talk about them right now, and you guys we could decide on which is the best one.
So for those of you going, well, that's not the title of the show. It's because Terry is currently changing it on the fly during the podcast. So what are your choices?
Well, your title now, B is for Bomber. And I think that's accurate. It reflects the bulk of what we're going to talk about today. But I've got three options here that we can add to that. One of them is very close to yours. So the first one here, B is for Betrayal.
Where the hell is this going?
Option 2, Sloppy Seconds. And option 3 for title of this show, You're Ugly and Stupid and I Hate You.
You know, you say that, but you have been on other shows and podcasts, and you tell us after you've been on a show.
Oh, I get what's going on.
Okay, so I think your little punch right there is uncalled for.
Somebody a little butthurt?
By myself.
He does seem butthurt, and he wasn't even there.
Yeah, that's what's strange about it.
I've never teamed up with one of you to exclude the other.
But you were invited and we weren't. That's the key there. So you were invited to these other shows and we weren't.
Okay. So what am I talking about?
This is the YouTube channel for those of you who are watching. You can go to @JeffsCustomRC on YouTube. But and what Terry doesn't know is that we weren't necessarily invited. I just happened to say, hey, we were there. Can we join the show? Can we join the chat? And so I kind of self-invited ourselves. And Fitz was like, where are we going? What time are we on? It's like, what did you do, Lee? Because our friend Tomas from Legend Hobby was texting us, and Fitz had no idea he was invited to this podcast.
Do we do what now?
I was like, Fitz, we could talk about the show. And he goes, Fitz is like, I don't have all the time in the world. I got stuff to do. I said, we'll just join. We'll talk for a bit. And so anyway, Jeff and Wayne from Jeff's Custom RC, their YouTube channel, you can go check it out. We joined the show, was it 2 days ago? Right?
Was it Tuesday night? And I was disappointed because I was actually busy and I could only watch a few minutes of it. So, yeah, if you guys want to give a quick synopsis.
We talked a smidgen about Bomber. We left some of this for you. So there are things we didn't talk about and the juicy stuff that you want to talk about. But it was basically Wayne came down. He'd never been and got to experience Bomber Field and he really enjoyed it, and he seemed to be very famous. So I felt bad. I was like, I wasn't fanning him like these other people were, like they do to Fitz, And we had a nice conversation. Fitz chatted with him, and it was a lot of fun. It was great to see other people experiencing Bomber and having a good time, and part of the Legend Hobby flying team.
Yeah.
And it was all good because we sat right next to the Legend Hobby booth. So good times.
Nice. All right. Well, cool. So I'll go back and I'll watch the whole thing.
I'm sorry, Terry.
I
mean, I don't know about Fitz, but I'm sorry that it stung that you weren't there.
Oh,
You had nothing to offer.
Yeah, I'm not sorry because you would have had dubious utility being there.
That's true. Just a pretty face. All right. So with that, speaking of Bomber Field, how was it?
Go, Fitz. I'll just produce and show photos, and you talk all about it. You're the
It was
voice.
there. It was a thing.
Yeah, okay.
We saw. I didn't get a T-shirt. Quick synopsis, of course, is Bomber Field. This is Bomber Field, Texas, in Monteville. Their yearly B-17 gathering and Big Bird fly-in or something like that.
Good job.
That was it? All right. See, I actually remembered something. We've talked about this before. If you listen to the show, if you're new to the show, this is a big, huge, ginormous, not small event that's held every year in September here in Texas, right outside of Houston. And this draws... I'm sorry?
On the edge of Houston. That reminds
On
me
the edge of Houston, yeah.
It's way out there. It's west Houston, so it's in Monteville, Texas.
It's out in the sticks a bit, and that's on purpose because they wanted the BB Weather, who bought the field many moons ago, 30-something years ago, 35, 36 years ago. He wanted somewhere out so he could fly big aircraft. And so that's where it is. And so it's not imposed on by development or airports or condominiums or anything. It's out in the sticks. But it's not hard to get to. And
is there any indication that urban sprawl is heading that way, or is it still pretty safe?
It's going to be safe for quite a long time. I mean, maybe technically urban sprawl is coming out there, but it ain't getting there anytime soon.
Right. Good.
It'll be, we'll have flying cars and anti-grav generators by the time urban sprawl gets there. So anyways, we're showing some pictures for those of you listening. Go to our YouTube site and look at some pretty pictures of a big aircraft.
These photos, just so I'm fixing Fitz here. This is a gallery on the AMA's Facebook page for Bomber event.
Right.
So as an AMA employee, I went out there and I did not bring airplanes to fly. I couldn't get my P-38 finished. So my job was to document it. I also have some videos I'll show in a second. But right now I'm just perusing through the photo gallery of the stuff I walked around.
So this event draws people from all over the continental United States and Mexico. And I'm sure some Canadians have popped in once or twice as well. Maybe even some people from overseas. But anyways, lots of nice, great, it focuses mainly on giant scale warbirds of various types. There's a jet we're looking at. And so there's various trophies for different types of things, but mainly it's centered around bombers. And so you always will see a large contingent of bombers, or contingency, whatever you want to call it. And there's even a trophy for the best B-17 specifically. That is a persistent trophy, what they call it, or something like that, where whoever wins the trophy gets to hold it for a year and then they have to defend it or give it away the next year, depending if they win again or not. And they get their name emblazoned on it.
Do they get
but
to
always
take the trophy home?
I presume so.
Okay,
I always
so
wonder
they
about
have to
that.
Come back or mail it
Yeah,
back,
so
or,
what if they don't come back and somebody else needs a trophy? Do they go hunt them down or something? Or I never understood that. Or they get honorary trophy until they can find it. But anyways, it's even though it's centered around warbirds, you get some civilian aircraft mixed in there as well, but they're in a distinct minority. But it's a great place to go to see all kinds of cool stuff, meet some great people, have some good food. And it's very spectator friendly. There's people buying and selling stuff. There's a few vendors that pop up, swap meet, and all kinds of stuff. It was a lot of people this year. It was like close to 130 pilots, Lee, right? Roughly 127, 28, something like that. And some really new stuff that showed up, we'll get into. There was a quick hint of one. And we had a good time. The weather was pretty decent, although it was a bit hot, but it didn't rain on us, and the wind was favorable. So, ooh, spider plane. So we generally had a good time. Lee and I were there hanging out. We mentioned Wayne from the podcast, which I just forgot the name. What do they call them?
Jeff and Wayne.
Yeah, Jeff and
Wait
Wayne.
Club.
So Wayne was there the first time I met him. And we also met Jay from Jay's Garage.
Okay.
Is it Jay's Garage, right?
I don't-
RC Garage.
Jay's
RC
RC Garage, excuse me. He's a really up-and-coming, super popular YouTuber that popped in for a couple of days. So hung up with him. It was an interesting guy to talk to from New York. So it was his first time there. Every time, it's great to talk to people who've been there for the first time. They always say it's a really, really neat event and such neat stuff that goes on, and they really all enjoy it, and they all say they will come back at some point. We're just showing a nice slideshow of all kinds of aircraft. We got the Cessna 150s that fly around in formation with smoke systems from local guides. Texas Warbird Thunders, of course, were there flying their warbirds in formation. Young and old were flying aircraft. It was a really, really nice event to go to, even just to spectate. There's a good spectator. There's a Grant in his P-51 that you can go up in some bleachers that are sort of above a story above ground. Hey, Orlando. And so it's a great place if you just want to hang out and watch, or if you want to fly. Flying was going on all day for several days. It's technically a Friday, Saturday, Sunday event, but people start showing up like Tuesday and camping out. There's camping, power, and all kinds of stuff there. So there's my club member Mike Leibel's B-24, and here is Randy Larson's B-17 dropping some bombs.
All right.
So
Well,
we had
you guys, well, go ahead. I have a question when you're ready to accept.
Sure. I
questions.
should mention that we had several times a bomber gaggle. So we would put up a whole bunch of bombers in the air at the same time and fly around in a loose formation to the delightment of the crowds and that kind of stuff. So it's just a really nice, really neat flying event that it's great to watch and great to participate in.
I'm going to interject here. This is my buddy Tim Ott's B-25.
Yeah.
He texted me today, and it was a picture of this photo in a frame that he already had printed. He goes, "Look what I did."
That was quick.
I know, but I was like, dude, if you'd told me you wanted to print something big, I would have sent you a larger file. I would have cleaned it up, and these are just proofs, really. And he was like, "Oh yeah, I love this photo." So he won second place, I think.
Oh, did you? Okay.
Yeah, for this B-25. So I'm glad he was excited. I just feel bad. I wish I would have given him a much better quality photo.
You can send him a super megapixel raw image.
Well, and also it's his. If you can see this photo, those of you looking, that's his new profile photo too. So it was. Thank you, Tim, for reaching out to me and let me know. Glad it made you happy.
Well, as you were scrolling, there was another B-25 that looked like it. Yeah. Is that the same one?
No, this is Tim's. He was coming in for landing. And the good news is he recovered. So, for those of you watching, this is a little hairy photo of the B-25 coming in. It was like, boop. So all good. He flew the heck out of that thing.
Now, was there something previously where one guy did get a little squirrely?
Yeah, I think it was a say that 10 times fast. It was a Zeroli B-25. And the guy had lost an engine. And it kind of just, he didn't spin out. He just cut short the runway and clipped it. So all good. He fixed it and he brought it out the next day, but he couldn't get the engine to run very well. And he didn't trust it, so he didn't fly it on Saturday. And this was taken. The photo we're showing right now is Mike Leibel's B-24 and Fitz Walker's B-24. This is like the closest formation we could probably get those two because it was hard to keep up some planes.
I'm sure.
Yeah, it was a little tricky. Mine is slightly smaller. It doesn't look like in the picture. And I was still feeling it out. I had just gotten it flying the weekend before. I had one flight on it. And so at the event is where I really got to shake it down and kind of still feeling it out a bit where it's comfortable flying and that kind of stuff. And so it was nice to be able to fly with my clubmate, Mike Leibel. Nice. Thanks for the shot, Lee. Good shot.
Well, let's stick on these B-24s for a minute. So, Fitz, you were honored with an award. Am I correct in that?
Yes, I won Best Electric at the event.
with your B-24.
With the B-24, the VQ models, B-24, 110-inch span.
That he flew like a fighter. He took off at 10 feet and was doing 80 miles an hour. Pure vertical.
Well, it's got a lot of power. It's way overpowered.
Way overpowered.
And I need to take it up and do some stall tests and stuff with it. I was just being careful not to fly it too slow. I wasn't sure what it would do. But it actually flies really, really nice. I was very comfortable with it. And so I guess I should explain. I don't know if Terry, if you heard about one, I got this in a trade. So it was partially built, and one of the landing retracts on the wing, I think it's the port side wing, is weak.
You can see it's down here. I don't know if you can see my mouse, but you can see the wheels down.
Oh, yeah, that's early flight. Yeah. So the wheel will only go about 2/3 of the way and just hang and stop.
Oh, didn't you talk about that in the last show? You were ordering.
He did. And he showed the motor. Yeah, he showed. Yeah. But tell him what he did. You did though.
So after this is probably the first flight. After the subsequent flights, is what I did was I took off, I rolled it inverted, then retracted the gear, and then rolled it right side up, and that was how I fixed the problem. So it flies very well inverted.
Nice.
It's like Randy Larson, I think, was on the microphone saying, "Hey, look, Fitz is doing rolls with his B-24 Liberator." It's like, it wasn't like to put on a show. It was because I couldn't get my gear down.
The gear wouldn't retract unless I did that.
And it did work. So, hey, kudos to Fitz.
Yeah, I did it several times. So I didn't realize Randy saw it.
By the way, you were inverted for some time because that gear was coming down very slowly.
It's not very fast. So it's not like a quick flip. You got to hold it there for a half a lap or so.
And I'm sorry I don't have it here. I haven't gone through my video, but I think I have that Saturday flight with you inverted on video. So I'll go look for it because it'll be great to share.
So I want to give kudos out to our buddy Chris Wolf at the RC Geek, because he has one, and I had been pestering him with questions, and I saw a video and he had actually rolled it, and I said, "Oh, so it's pretty aerobatic, huh? So I gotta try some of that." So, but he was giving me some advice and giving me some pointers about flying it. So,
all right, cool.
So yeah, it's a surprisingly nice flying model. It's chunky. It's not a lightweight model. It's got 4 battery packs in it, 5 battery packs. And so I'll pound the weight in the nose, but it flies pretty decently. I'm pretty happy with it.
What is the flying weight?
I didn't measure. I forgot. I think Chris said it's about 20 pounds in his.
Oh, that's not too bad.
20 something pounds.
Do you know how much power you have?
I haven't attacked it, but I can barely hold it if I throttle it all the way up on the ground. It's got a lot of oomph. 4 cells. Each motor has 4 cell battery pack independently. Right. Max motor, but I forgot the size. They're, I don't know, 600 watt motor or something like that. 600-800 watts.
That he pushed to 1100.
300 blocks
Each.
Yeah, I basically fly around at half throttle, usually.
Yeah. Well, even if each motor is only doing 500 watts, that's still 100 watts per pound.
Yeah. It gets up in the air pretty quickly. Lee was pestering me because I did the high performance takeoffs with it.
Yeah.
But that was the reason I still need to fix the nose gear. Is a little wonky. It's got a pull cable on it, and it's not adjusted quite right, and so there's a little bit of
some shimmy
in it. And so I'm trying to get it off the ground quickly so it doesn't do a hard left or right into the fence or something like that. Taxiing back, it's doing this when I taxi back after landing. So
I just want to point out that we know an aerospace engineer who specializes in landing gear on large aircraft.
Oh, that's right. Yes.
So you may want to give old Mason
a
call.
I know what the problem is. I need these going in 2 weekends. Like I said, it's not fully. I got some decals on order from Caligraphics. If you notice, it's a little bare, except for the stars and bars. There's really no other graphics on it. Yeah. So it is pretty up. And I need there's servos in all but one of the turrets right now, but they're not hooked up, so I need to hook them up to something.
You need those random motion generators that Chris.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking of doing. Putting something like that in there. Yeah.
All right, cool. All right, well, congratulations on your award.
Yeah, thanks.
That's pretty cool.
My first not my first 4-engine bomber, but first one that's scale-like, I guess you could say.
All right.
So.
And you got that together pretty quickly.
Yeah, I did. There was some cursing and some head scratching, getting it ready, but yeah, it didn't take too long. It took longer than I thought, but it wasn't too bad.
All right. Now, before we leave the B-24s, I saw a video the other day after the fact that showed Mike's B-24 having a rough landing. Do you guys know what happened there?
He lost the outer starboard engine, and he was losing altitude, and he could tell he was not getting any lift, so he brought it down pretty quickly. So he was downwind, and it hit the ground, and just, gosh, I didn't know until I saw the video how fast that thing was booking.
Yeah, it was hauling.
But he got on the ground, but he just traveled so far, and unfortunately he hit a ditch. It jumped up in the air and then fell into a ditch. So he lost the tail. He ripped out a lot of stuff from the undercarriage on the left wing. The wingtips look okay. The fuselage doesn't look too bad. The tail's split up. And I think the reaction just kind of took him off guard. So he was a little devastated, and, hugs all around, and we felt bad for him, and people were talking. But, I think once he caught his breath and we started looking at it again, I think he was like, okay, I will fix it. Because at one point he told me he was done. Like when I first saw him, he said, it's over. But I think he just needed some air.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's going to rebuild it, and probably not this year. Probably do it next year. I know he's got some other stuff he's working on, like a B-25.
Oh, right.
So I know he wants to finish that. So he'll put that on the back burner. But I think next year he'll dig it out and start working on it again.
Yeah, as far as I know, he's already started working on it a little bit. He's, I think he buggered the landing gear a little bit, so he's looking for a replacement landing gear. So that's a good sign. Working on fixing it up.
Well, good.
Yeah, we should note that he's got 200 flights on that thing.
I was just going to say, it's been around for a while, and this isn't its first bruise. And I'm glad that he's decided to keep it going.
We should note too, he's got a neat thing under the starboard wing outer panel. He's got signatures on it from either people who flew in B-24s in the war or direct relatives of people that flew B-24s during the war.
Now, am I correct on the mission markings on the side of the fuselage? It actually reflects the number of flights he's had with it?
The bombs do, if I remember correctly, yes.
Okay, yeah, that's pretty
he's
cool.
got little bombs on the side. You can tell the older ones are sort of worn out. He talks about maybe you should refresh them or not, but he keeps, so he refreshes, he has the bombs, and he has a logbook too. He'll check out. He's really meticulous on that.
Yeah. Well, Mike, if you're listening, I'm sorry that happened, but I'm glad you're repairing it.
Yeah. But in the Constellation Prize, he did win Best World War II, I think, Lee, at the show. So he came out with a trophy.
All right, cool.
Because he flew it a lot. That was the thing. I mean, he flew it, and it looked great. He dropped bombs. It was very nice. He's always putting on a good show.
Yeah. He's got, he asked me to 3D print some bombs for him. So I printed them out of flexible material. And he took them and tweaked them a little bit, and so he's real happy how those work. And he's got pretty good aim when dropping them most of the time.
All right, cool. All right, well, I was going to ask you guys a question a little while ago, and we veered off track. While you were there, you guys did a good job of posting videos and other stuff real time. And one of those videos, two of them, I guess, just caught on fire and went off, and we got tons and tons of hits.
Well,
so,
can we get to that? Because I want to finish the slideshow. You kind of paused me here, and I have some other flight photos, and then I have the two videos you're talking about on hold in the wings just for you, Terry. Like, Fitz and I, we got this down. You just sit back and enjoy the show.
Did you say sit down and shut up? Because that's what I heard.
Something like that.
That's the paraphrase, yeah.
Fine.
You weren't there. We were there. We fought the fighters. We fought the bombers.
There we were, step by step, inch by inch.
Well, because let me just show a couple of the photos here. But we had some bees.
Do you know who flew this Tiger Cat? He was tearing up the skies with it.
That was Chris Dunn.
Was it? Oh, really?
Yeah.
I didn't know he had a Tiger Cat. Oh.
Yeah.
One of the young guns out there.
Oh, there you go.
Look at the down thrust in that. Is that accurate?
Where?
Is that scale? Go back to the B-17.
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah, it just looks like there's a lot of
they're
down
not
thrust
quite aligned.
I don't know if the real one's like that. I'm sure there's a purpose for it. It probably needs it, but
Insufficient data. Don't know.
There's Fitz's
observation, though.
B-24.
Oh, yeah, it's a nice shot of my B-24.
Is in-flight orientation difficult with the all-over green?
No, well, the bottom is the light gray or
Oh,
whatever
okay.
you call it,
You got
off white. So
little
no, I don't recall ever having any orientation issues with it. No.
Yeah, and the nice thing about this photo is that I can't see his gear down.
Yeah. You can't see the hanging gear.
No Photoshop required. He just, left
And I
wing
think-
high, hide wheel.
And another thing was that one gear hanging down, I thought, did cause a little bit of yaw moment as well. I could tell, versus when it went all the way up.
Yeah.
So there's best B-17, Ryan Lockhart's all aluminum.
Yeah.
And just a little shout out to Ryan. He is the only pilot to ever win the B-17 award 3 times in a row.
3 times. Wow.
We've had a couple of 2-timers. I think Randy Larson was one of them. I actually don't know all the other winners. I need to photograph that trophy and look at all the names, and we should make a list. And maybe there's something on the Texas Warbird Thunder page that has it. But Ryan, flew this very well. And I'm looking at the thrust line. You're right. The thrust line looks kind of straight on this B-17.
That one was a little better, yeah. 2 things. Ryan came all the way from Nebraska, if I remember correctly. And also, wasn't this damaged or something, and he had to repair it at some
Yeah,
point?
he had a crash with this. Hit a power line, went across, and landed on a freeway or something.
Oh,
Yeah.
gosh.
Not this year, some previous year or something, or another event or something.
So it's
And so-
repaired.
Yeah, he did a great job repairing it. You never knew that it was had gotten heavily damaged previously.
Huh.
And it's all, I guess we should say, all aluminum foil?
Tape.
Well, aluminum tape
aluminum
covered, yeah.
Coming in for a landing. B-24.
There's my B-24 again. Yeah, a bunch of shots of it.
You need someone looking out the little side turret hole.
Oh, yeah, I guess I need to put some... The
Get
guns
a
are not
picture
in
of
there
me and
either.
Terry.
There you go. Yeah.
Little caricatures of us on either side. Screaming bloody murder. Just still sharing. So I think, if I'm not mistaken, this photo of a B-52 pass is what Terry was talking about. And we will get back to it. I've got some more photos, but that's a very nice. It's a very nice jet. And by the way, I didn't tell you guys, but some of these photos are Ryan's. I
really?
didn't tell you which ones.
No.
Yeah. But I do like this
shot.
photo of Mike's libel with Ryan's B-17 in the background.
Yeah, that's a good shot.
Yeah. Okay, I'll quickly get through these. I think these are all mine. No, that's right. This one's Ryan's. Got a
Spitfire
nice
coming in.
little Spitfire coming in. This is Ryan's of your Bearcat
really?
because I'm
Okay, that's my
videotaping
Bearcat. Yes.
with the cowl on.
Yeah, I don't know if you want to talk about that now or later.
Well, the
My
cowl
Bear-
being the engine killer.
my Bearcat adventures.
Well, I have another photo coming up, so once you stay tuned, we'll get to it.
Okay.
And then we'll talk about your Bearcat. So again, that's I think that's Ryan getting your Bearcat. Now you can talk, Fitz. Fitz has got a story to tell about the Bearcat.
All right, so this, jeez. Okay, so the CY Models Bearcat, the one I won at Roundtable some years ago, and I've been kind of tinkering it on and off. We talked about this before. We talked about how I got the Sato 90 radio for a steal of a deal just for this plane. It fit great in the cowl. So, but I had not flown it. I actually maidened it at the bomber event on Friday. And first flight was without the cowl, because in case I needed to tweak the engine or anything, I just wanted to run. And took it up. And other than a super, super sensitive elevator, it flew pretty good.
And
And what?
I'm going to call you out. What did you forget to plug in?
Oh, that was the second flight.
No, I thought it was the first flight.
No, first flight is fine.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Continue.
So the engine sounds great. At that time, it ran great. So it sounded good. What?
The maiden was without a cowl.
Maiden was out of cowl. So the picture you see is the second flight. The first flight was without the cowl and did really well. And, but other than the elevator was way out, it was way, way, way too sensitive. So I got it in just fine. Did some tweaks to the elevator throws and radio, changed the settings. And so then I said, okay, well, it flew great there. Then we put the cowl on and give it another try. And so on the second flight is when I it was just ticking along real nice. I took off and went to flip the retract switch and nothing. Then I realized, oh, I forgot to plug in the retract battery. It's got separate batteries for the retracts. And so I said, well, crap. Well, anyways, I'm up. I'm not going to land it just to plug it in. I'll just fly it around as it was. And I was having a pretty nice time kind of exploring the envelope with it. Did snap rolls with it and some rolls and stuff. And I noticed it started sounding a little odd. It was kind of, I could tell, even though lots was going on, I could tell, I was like, wait, it doesn't sound quite right. So I said, well, let me bring it in. And I came in, but I was a bit high. And I figured, well, I'm a bit high. Let me go around and do the approach again. And so I cut the pattern short. And halfway around, the engine dies.
Oh, no.
And so, yeah, instant dead stick. I should have just landed it the first time, even though it was a little high. I had plenty of room, but, I don't know. It was one of those split-second decisions that, even although the guy next to me says, go around. So it wasn't, we both were thinking the same thing, that I was a bit high. So anyways, so I had to land kind of like Michael Iable. I was landing almost a bit downwind, maybe a tail quartering wind. And so it came down okay. I got it. It was a little fast, but it landed on its wheels and bounced a bit. But one wheel did come off. And so that's why he's kind of nose down. But so I think the engine overheated since I had the cowl on and it was just running rough. I haven't done anything since I got it home, but looking at it, I probably need to add some more air exits. I had that air exit sort of in the bottom, but the way the cowl fits is really, it's all kind of tight. There's no provisions for air to come out of the thing. So I think I need to get more aggressive and open up the front a little bit too, as it's also kind of smallish, the opening in the cowl. So we're going to do some surgery, do some re-engineering of the airflow of the whole thing. But the engine, when it was running, it ran really nice, plenty of power, sounded great. Really happy with it. Looks good. And the plane itself handles actually quite nicely.
It's a lot of wing.
Got a lot of wing area, yeah. I just was surprised. It's funny, because I thought maybe the CG might have been off when I was flying it. I actually had to add weight to the tail. I needed a pound of weight in the tail, unusually. But I talked to both Liable and another guy who both are Bearcats. They both told me the same thing. It says, yes, the elevator is really sensitive on these Bearcats. You don't need much movement at all.
Yeah.
So I don't know why the instructions told me to have so much throw, but it was way too much. So we'll see how that goes. It's on a back burner now. I got some other things to work on. So maybe over the holidays, winter holidays, I'll take it out and tweak it around a little bit. See if I can get the issue solved.
All right.
But it was nice to finally get in the air.
Well, since you're talking about the balance of it, I'll share the anecdote that I shared with you when you talked about needing tail weight. I remember reading something about that with the real Bearcat. And so I actually found the book that I read that in and looked it up again. And it goes back to when the Blue Angels were transitioning from Hellcats to Bearcats. And so this would have been, 1946, 1947, something like that. And the team went to the Grumman factory in Bethpage on Long Island, New York. And Grumman had lightened the airplanes that the Blue Angels were going to get because I guess flying air shows or certain stuff on the standard issue Bearcats that they didn't need. So they had lost all this weight. And one of the things they took out was tail weight. And usually a Bearcat has like 50 pounds of tail weight back by the tail wheel.
Oh, wow.
And so they had inadvertently taken that out. And they didn't realize this because when they were full of gas, the balance was within spec. But as they burned gas, once they got to below about half a tank, then they were way nose heavy. And they didn't realize this until they were on their ferry flight and coming in to land, and they can't keep the nose up on their plane at approach speed. Like they had no pitch authority because it was so nose heavy. And so the first thought was they got to go back over the ocean and bail out on these brand new airplanes. But after some tooling around, they figured out if they were at 130 knots or more, they had enough pitch authority to flare. So they came in and landed these Bearcats 130 knots. And I think the usual landing speed was like 80 knots. But they all came in and they made it okay. But yeah, they had a rude awakening out over the Atlantic Ocean when they figured out the balance problem.
Man, but it was a pucker factor.
Yeah, right?
So I wonder if there's a fuel tank behind the cockpit or something.
That could be it.
Yeah.
And so as that burned off, yeah, it just keeps going forward.
Wow.
Anyway,
Interesting.
sorry for that
No, that's
sideline. But
good info. That's pretty interesting. Yeah, it's like the first plane I can remember ever. For a very, very long time, I had to add tail weight.
yeah, and it has such a short nose, you wouldn't think that was going to be the case. But
Yeah,
It
short
is.
nose and a composite structure fuselage. Usually those things are tail heavy, but no, not in this one.
that Sando must be pretty meaty.
Yeah, I'm guessing it's a lot of heavy side.
All right. So, no damage to report. You said the wheel came off. Did it damage something when it came off? Or just...
The wheel pant got knocked around a little bit, but that was it.
Okay, but you didn't break a shaft or anything like that?
No, nothing broke. Prop didn't break. Nothing. A little scuff marks on the cowl. That's it.
All right.
The wheel pant wasn't broken. It just got knocked off a little bit. Easy fix. So, yeah.
All right. Well,
No
good.
damage.
I look forward to seeing video of it at some point.
Yeah, somebody caught it. There was another person. I forgot the name of that. I guess maybe we'll try to find a link. There's another gentleman out there filming, and he got the dead stick landing.
Oh, all right.
Yeah, he
We had
even
a
has a
couple
little.
of dead stick landings.
Yeah, he even had a little superimposed little text that says "engine quit" or "engine died" or something like that, and it shows me coming in.
The Batman graphic. Pow! Boom!
Yeah, we'll try to find who that was and post a link to it. I forgot his channel name.
All right. So, Lee, you've got the master plan.
And are you ready? Are you ready to sit there and enjoy the show? You saw the video.
Yeah, I did.
Okay. So as Terry mentioned earlier, kind of prematurely, we did capture a video with a gentleman by the name of Jason Hill. And I'm sure Terry will add stories that I've completely forgot about, him being at best and all that jazz. And I'm sorry, I forgot.
No, I learned my lesson. I'm going to stay in my lane.
But all I know is that Jason brought this incredible plane. I handed Fitz the microphone and said, you need to go interview this guy. And so we did. And if you haven't seen it already, go to our YouTube channel. I can probably pull that up real quick, just so for those of you watching. I don't know why I'm seeing this. Where is it? There you go. YouTube at RC Roundtable.
Yep.
So there you go. Go pull up our... I'm sorry?
Nothing YouTube. I'm just saying YouTube.
Okay. And this is the video we have. So I will play it. I think the microphone's off. And who knows, we'll probably see an ad pop up because, YouTube, they want their money. And this was a great interview. I'm not going to, you're not going to listen to it. You guys can go check it out. But just here we are standing next to it. You can see the size of this sucker. 174-inch wingspan. 11 batteries, correct?
Yeah.
Fits 11 batteries,
Yep,
one
11
battery
batteries.
per 80 millimeter fan, and it was a 6S, correct?
Correct.
Yeah.
Each 80 millimeters on a 6S battery, and it flew great. I'm just going to jump to the part where he flies it, so you guys can see some of this flight footage. But Fitz, you did a great job. I don't know if I actually said that to you after we
thank you.
after we recorded this and after I put it
did not.
together. Okay, well, good job, Fitz. And you're just so relaxing. I think people, when they come up to you and you talk to them, they're not nervous. And you and Jason did a great job describing, you asked several good questions, and it took off. As Terry said, we have over 30,000 views.
Really, 30,000 now?
video.
Wow. Yeah. We had a lot of nice comments, too, about the...
200 comments. There's Terry, I'm not sure Terry was going to talk about. We had some of the stupid comments,
Yeah, of course.
Like, why isn't there smoke coming out those engines? The real Buff had smoke. And one guy was mad because, and I've shared this many years ago about a Mike Liable's video. People mad because of the music and they want to hear the motors. And it was just so windy that day, so all you heard was wind noise. But some guy complaining that he couldn't hear it. But we have another video I'll show you in a second. But just look how big that is. There's Fitz and Jason standing under that tent. And it's just humongous, but it was gorgeous. And I'll just jump to the end. And he won Best of Show. Like, there was no doubt in anybody's mind that plane deserved Best of Show because he put on a show, doing knife edges with a B-52.
Yeah, we should say kudos to the pilot because he flew it expertly. He flew it like he wasn't scared to do anything with it.
Yeah.
Really, really nice. Great show with it. Great build. And there he is walking with it. You can see how big it is. That's something like a 16-foot wingspan or something like that, I think.
I think 170 inches, 170 something. Yeah, whatever the math was.
Yeah, Mr. Math Minor, tell us how big that is.
Well, I don't have enough fingers.
So this second video is not the interview. This is the actual flight. And you saw in the video, Fitz was there with the transmitter's hand because he's got control of the X-15 under the wing there. Or does he? Because if you look at the title of the video, it says sort of. So I am going to jump to this, but there's another video out there. Not as many views, unfortunately. I wish this one is amazing, just as amazing. And of course, a lot of people were asking about the X-15 flight. And I don't think, Terry, you could have known because you weren't there, but while Jason was in the air, we had a full-scale P-51 come over.
Oh, really?
And Jason was pretty high up in there. So we had to get Jason to come down. I think it's right here during this pass. The P-51's flying over our head.
Yeah, it came out of nowhere. I was like, what the?
Look at this. Look at him doing another knife edge with the X-15 underneath.
We should know that X-15 has a solid rocket motor, SDs or whatever, rocket in it.
Right.
And it's rail controlled. So it's designed to launch and then hit the rocket motor and reach for the sky. So I was honored to be able to fly the X-15, sort of.
So was there a grassroots lobbying campaign to get you on the transmitter?
Shoot!
Kind of. So there's launch.
For those of you listening, the X-15 just did a U-turn. Said, nope.
Falling leaf.
Vertical U-turn. So
yes, thank you, Terry.
Yeah, I have basically no control. There's one spot where I was able to time some down elevator, and you see it kind of head for the ground a bit, and then I let off, and then it immediately steered it right there, and then it flipped back up because I didn't want to nose dart into the ground. Yeah. So after coming back, Jason sheepishly admitted, says, "Oh yeah, I made some changes to the X-15. I completely changed the nose cone with a 3D printed one, and forgot to rebalance it."
Oh.
So it was extremely tail heavy compared to the old setup. So he owned up to it. So no hard feelings.
So you could have lit the rocket if you had chosen to.
I could have, but I didn't want to risk it because it was so out of control.
Yeah, that would have been bad.
Yeah, it would have gone right at the B-52.
Yeah. So he totally understood. I totally understand not hitting the rocket. That he agreed with that decision.
Yeah. And it looked like it hit the ground with no damage.
It knocked the vertical loose a little bit, but yeah, it was extremely minor damage because it landed inverted. But it was kind of funny because they sit there flipping. People will say, "Hey, it's a 3D X-15."
Yeah.
So yeah, my time and glory was not so glorious.
So there was no do-over?
There wasn't. No, I don't know why. I guess he really needed to. I guess he didn't feel like mucking with X-15, or that might have been the last flight. I don't know, actually. To be honest with you. But anyways,
you got to fly it.
I did get to fly it briefly, sort of, and just hang on for dear life, more like it. Yeah. But again, thanks for Jason to let me fly. Again, he thought I was competent enough to do the thing.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, that's really cool. That's a special model. So I guess you guys didn't remember, but we met Jason several years ago because he brought a B-52 to Best.
After you said that, I vaguely remember a B-52, a guy hand launching one. I bet that was him. I thought it was a pusher. I think I asked him about it. I can't remember.
No, he had EDFs in it.
Maybe it was EDF, but did he hand launch it, or did he have to take off the ground? I remember somebody.
If I remember, it was before they had a paved runway out there. So
it was a long time ago. We were talking about at least 10 years ago or so.
I'd have to look through my photos, but yeah, probably so. Yeah. And if I remember, it was one of the years that we had crappy weather all weekend. Mm. So I'll go through my archive and see if I can find what year it was. But
that would be pretty cool, yeah. But I was glad to have him back, and he was a showstopper when he was flying. So.
Yeah, for sure. And probably worth mentioning that Jason is one of the hosts on the Nuts and Bolts podcast, which is a derivative of the Scrap Pile.
Yeah. Yes.
So
check him out. Hopefully he'll go give some gory details of his experience on his show.
Fitz broke my X-15.
Yeah.
I told him
Those
not to
RC
push that
Roundtable
button,
guys.
and he did it anyway.
It was neat. He had a neat arming sequence on it. He had a second transmitter. He says, okay, to launch a rocket, make sure you move the stick up this way, and then this is the commit button to launch it. I said, oh, cool.
Yeah.
So there was no accidentally launching the thing.
Did you have to turn 2 keys at the same time?
Yeah. Got to find your commander.
Yeah.
It was funny because the transmitter was like this Futaba 18-channel super transmitter. It was like, you sure you had enough channels on this thing? He goes, oh, it's an older transmitter. I don't really use it anymore. So,
All right. Well, cool. Yeah, that looked like a fun thing to watch. And you said he won Best of Show with that?
yes, yeah.
Is that
think so.
like a big trophy?
I don't know.
Just a.
No.
Do you have your trophy, Fitz? It's just a little plaque, Texas, shape of Texas.
All right. But he gets to keep that. He doesn't have to bring it back.
Yeah, here it is. Yeah. The big trophy is the B-17 perpetual trophy. So
Gotcha.
there's
Okay.
the one I
Oh,
won.
yeah. That's nice.
It's really nice. Yeah.
Yeah.
Can you tell what state it's from?
Yeah.
So, that was one of the culture shocks. I guess I'm going to go off a side tangent. Moving, being a displaced ex-Yankee, moving to Texas is the Texas pride, Texas, what do you want to call it? What do you call it, Lee? Sort of,
Don't mess with Texas.
don't mess with Texas.
Barbecue.
Texans
Longhorns.
love Texas. The Texas flag and the stars on everything. And it's unusual. You don't see this in other states.
Deep in the heart of.
Deep in the heart of Texas. Yeah, just like Pee Wee Herman, right? So, so it's just fascinating. I guess because Texas was its own country at one point. But
What's the last thing you remember? I remember the Alamo.
So, anyways,
So
thanks, folks.
Speaking of Yeehaw, because I'm just going to share this while we are talking, because I'm going to play it without audio. But if you guys are watching, this is a little reel I created for the AMA of the Gaggle flight. And this is where the guys from the Texas War Thunder team grabbed their giant scale warbirds, anything really. Used to be at one point, like they were all P-51s, at least the majority were. So there were Corsairs in here and a couple of Japanese planes, I think, too. But this is a gaggle they do, and gosh, we've had up to 12 planes, I think, one time at a gaggle here. And it's very well done. It's team effort. They're all working together. They're all standing next to each other. To my knowledge, Fitz, I've never seen midair. Have you? You'll see this. You'll see on the ground. the guy clipped a guy on takeoff because the Corsair, the Zero, spun around. And
So we had that one time where a jet hit a plane. Was that during a gaggle? I think that might have been during a gaggle.
For this?
No, it was some years ago. It was an
You're talking
F9.
about you're talking about the Panther hitting the Tiger Cat?
Yeah.
That wasn't during a gaggle.
It wasn't? Okay. That's the only
That
one
was just the two of them flying together.
Okay.
But this is a lot of fun. And of course, the video here on our screen is not doing it justice. Please go visit the AMA Facebook page and Instagram page. You can go look at the reels online and enjoy the show. It's a lot of fun if you're there to just watch these guys, do their thing. I think the most enjoyable part is landing. And Fitz will tell you during his interview with Jason, two aircraft. I don't know if they were both Zeros, Fitz. I'm not sure if they were both Zeros.
I think they were. Yeah, I think they were both Zeros. Yep.
They, within feet of each other, just minimal feet, they both landed and nosed over. And we thought for sure the second one was going to hit it, but they just lined up right next to each other.
Yeah, it was like a perfect. I don't know how you couldn't have planned it that well.
Crowds went wild. They thought it was planned. It was like, yeah, yeehaw.
Yeah. There's video of that as well, right?
Someone does have the video. It's not on my.
Okay.
I was interviewing Fitz, so you can see it in the background of the other full. It stopped our interview, so I had to cut that out. But there is. It shows that, and I'm maybe Ryan even got pictures of it. I don't remember.
Somebody did. I saw a video somewhere. Somebody got a video of it, but I don't.
Good.
Know who it was.
All right. So before you guys went, I was asking if they were doing the giant pizza. Did that happen?
Well, certainly did.
It did?
Yeah, that was on Friday afternoon. They had the 8-foot. is it 8 foot, 10 foot, something like that?
It's pretty big,
pizza?
but it had a variety of toppings. I do have a drone capture of that.
Oh, do you?
When people were dishing it out, so I sent that to Tomas. And yeah, it was a crazy hodgepodge of toppings. But that being said, I mean, no offense to the pizza, I wasn't in the mood for pizza. We had barbecue from Randy's Hobbies, Randy Rich.
Oh yeah, that was really good.
And boy, that was delicious. It was really good. So thank you, Randy, for serving that.
I'm still processing that not in the mood for pizza thing you just said.
Lee's weird.
Yeah.
I'm just leave it at that. So, Fitz, I have our story that we held from the show to talk to Terry about. I have the photo ready. Are you ready?
You saved something for me?
I saved something.
Oh yeah, okay. Took me a second.
This is for you.
Yeah. Let me tell you a story about a little airplane called the Curtiss CW-1.
Is that the Junior?
Yeah.
Is that what it was called? Curtiss Junior?
Oh yeah, I think it might have been Junior something. This was a 1930s era, if I remember correctly. Plane from Curtiss Wright Company. One of their, it wasn't a home built. It was actual manufactured, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
It had a 40 horsepower
around.
engine. Yeah. But I won't steal Lee's glory. I'll let Lee talk about it.
Glory. And for those of you watching, just see the name I have shared before today. So this is the model at Bomber Field. What would you say the wingspan was?
Oh, it's pretty big. Probably
7, 8?
Was? Past
it's
10?
over 80 inches.
Okay.
Maybe
it's
90
over
inches,
80.
something like that.
Yeah.
90, something like that.
Cloth covered.
It's very nice.
well built.
Yeah.
I'm guessing it was built, Woody, how many years ago do you think?
Oh,
I don't. It's not a
many
new
moons
build.
ago. No,
Yeah,
it's not
many
a new
moons
build.
ago.
Yeah.
And Ryan Lockhart brought it to the event to share with pilots, and he had it out front, and it was a neat looking model. It's a nice little pusher, and it kind of reminds me of Plywood Overcast. Has that little Plywood Overcast feeling to it, you know. And he
Yeah,
was
it does.
giving people. What?
It's got the pusher there on the top of the wing.
Yeah, we should mention that. It's got a nice OS 160 four-stroke
160.
twin. Yeah, and it just puttered along really nice.
Oh gosh, that thing way overpowered with that motor.
Is it
was
running
at-
gas or glow?
Glow.
Oh, okay.
Probably at quarter throttle is what I was flying at. So anyway, Ryan had the plane out and he just started. Ryan Lockhart, if you're watching the podcast, thank you so much. You're so sweet. You're so kind. And honestly, you're a fun guy to hang around with and your planes are awesome.
I was going to say we should nickname him Mr. Happy.
He is. Always have. There was a picture of him earlier and I don't have, maybe I can pull it up here real quick. Let me, excuse me.
Yeah, we did see him earlier.
I know there's a shot of him helping out.
Yeah, he was helping another gentleman rebuild a B-17 that had crashed.
Which, by the way, I'm going to stop for this photo for those of you listening. This is the Hangar 9 Pawnee.
That's the Hangar 9? I know
That's the Hangar 9. The guy completely took the covering off. It's normally a red and white plane, and he put it in this military, theme. Really nice. And I saw it fly too. Really nice plane. I was very jealous. I would have loved to have done something like that if I had that other one.
Denied.
Have you guys seen that there's the air tractor crop plane? They actually have a military variant of it, like a counterinsurgency.
So if you can see my mouse,
Like
this is right. Look at him smile. He's just smiling all the time.
Yeah,
He's up to no good.
Yeah,
And
really.
he was. Yeah, there's a lot of people. Mike Leibel standing next to him. There are a lot of guys trying to help this gentleman restore his B-17. Had a rough landing. So, but that's just Ryan. So again, just doing a little shout out. He said, I'm going to bring this plane out and let people fly it. So he did. So he gave the sticks to folks and said, hey, enjoy it. It's really simple. It's an easy plane to fly. By the way, while I have you guys, this is a full-scale version. And did we determine this is at Rhinebeck?
Yeah,
Sure,
that's
that's
right.
Rhinebeck.
That's definitely
Yes.
Rhinebeck.
So
I want to say it flew when I was there. 12 years
So
ago.
that's basically what it looks like. So it's a really nice little plane.
Yeah.
Ryan says, hey, Lee, why don't you go fly it? Fitz goes, I'll spot for you. Okay. We get it started. We take off. gentle, just like plywood overcast, just very sweet, easy to fly. Needed a little bit of trim, roll trim. Got into a couple of turns. It was all fine and dandy until it was downwind and I was starting my left turn and I had nothing.
Oh, no.
I had no control. I had running towards it with, screaming, I have no control. Transmitter way high in the air. And, that poor plane, decided to just lock up in the position it was in, throttle, same turn. And it crashed behind us in a field behind the bomber field. The good news is it's relatively in good shape. Broke the prop, so we really don't know the condition of the engine. Landing gears flattened out and broke a strut. And if you look, I'm going to pull this picture up again because just imagine if you will, how much strength has to be in the center section.
Yeah.
If you start twisting and pulling that wing, you're all those little rods that you can see around the cockpit, they're gonna get some damage. So there's some parts that are moved in the center section, but overall it wasn't in bad shape. Pleasantly surprised.
No, considering, it was.
Yeah, and the covering on the wing looked intact. I didn't see any. Yes, sir. I see someone in the back there with the white headphones. You, sir, go ahead.
Terry from RC Roundtable.
Hi, Terry.
You said you broke the prop, but it's a pusher high-mounted engine.
Just pointing that out. leave it to your imagination, and I will not explain more.
That's all we'll say about that.
Yeah, that's all we're going to say about that.
Okay.
I'm just telling you what the damage was. So we grabbed it. It was pretty much all in one piece. I was able to lift it. We got a golf cart and brought it back, set it down, felt terrible in front of Ryan. I just said, man, I'm so sorry. And Ryan was like, no big deal. It's okay. I didn't want to bring it home anyway.
And of course the radio worked then, right?
No, it was dead.
Okay.
Dead.
Right.
My guess, Terry, just so if we want to do the, Sherlock Holmes deciphering, and I think Fitz touched on it too. I think the switch failed. And I know how much you hate switches, but I'm pretty sure that switch failed because I had absolutely nothing. And then when Fitz touched the switch, the servos jittered.
Yeah.
So, I just felt bad. I wasn't the one who touched the switch. I'm going to blame Fitz because he's the one who turned it on.
Yes.
Right there. Yeah, he's the one who activated the switch. So maybe he didn't go all the way over. I don't know. I don't know what happened. But in any case, plane went down. I brought the pieces back. Ryan was like, no big deal. I just like, it was the end of the day, Friday. It's like the event was over and I just wanted to get a flight in. So next day we show up, he's got a for sale sign on it. And he said, look, I was just going to tell people honestly, the plane, I just don't want to bring it home. I was going to take some money. So I don't have a problem telling him.
Lee crashed it. And
just that guy. Talk to that
Already
guy.
broke it in by Lee.
And so I'm going to speed things up a little bit. I talked to Ryan. I said, man, I feel real bad. He goes, yeah, don't worry. I just kind of recoup some money because that's all I really care about. He goes, didn't hurt my feelings. It was, I know it wasn't your fault, that kind of thing. And so I said, well, I just curiosity, how much are you asking? He's like, I'm going to ask about $375. Now, not a terribly bad price. Plane wasn't in terrible shape. And honestly, the OS 160 was just purring. It's a nice engine. And I said, okay. I said, well, let me know if you'll take offers because Fitz looked at it and he goes, that might be a good electric. Fitz and I are talking. He's standing next to me. I hear Fitz go, that would be a good electric. And I took that. I put it in my head. I walked over to Ryan and said, how much would you take if we gave you the engine back? Can I say the price?
I think he's asking.
I don't know do we want to say the price?
Okay, so it was significantly lower.
It was significantly lower.
It was significantly lower.
It was one of those prices like, shut up and take my money.
No, it's like, because I looked at it and I said, can I remove the engine for you? He goes, you're going to remove the engine too? I said, for that price, I'm happy to. And the funny thing was, I took the plane over, I got the engine off, not too bad, got the fuel tank out, got the receiver out. I walked over to Ryan, he goes, oh my God, he goes, it took you, 5 minutes to do? And so we made a deal with Ryan. I had no intentions of crashing the plane to make a deal for this guy, but in the end, it worked out. Fitz now has possession of this CW1. We disassembled it. We identified all the problems that are with it, and there are some things I would change, but it's not my plane; it's Fitz's. So I'm looking forward to see what Fitz does. But a couple of things I want to point out when we disassembled it, and Fitz can add on because you've seen it. The pilot in the plane must have weighed 5 pounds. His legs were full of lead.
I actually weighed him. He was like 3.5 pounds, something like that. Yeah, you pick him up. It's like, what the?
You were just hoping to pull the doll out. The doll is made of lead. The battery for it is stuck up in the fuselage. I don't know if he glued it in. Did you get it out?
I haven't touched it. Yeah, I haven't looked at it. No,
he surgically installed the battery in there, and so he's only charging it through the switch. It's like, I don't like that at all. And there are parts. Go ahead.
I assume you threw that switch in a fire already.
Well, that's up to this guy.
It will. It will not be used. It will not be used.
But the biggest, one of the biggest wins here, besides making one hell of a deal on this purchase, is that with the proper size outrunner, which it does not need a 60 size outrunner. I mean, I'm just saying, propping it right at the right speed. This thing is not meant to be 3D. And for the amount of power we needed to just get it to take off and fly, which was less than half throttle, he's going to save significant amount of weight because the engine's behind the CG. I mean, we had a very heavy engine when we moved it.
Oh, that's right. So electric motor is going to be much lighter.
It's going to be way lighter. And, putting the battery packs right in the nose and just stick them under that guy's legs. Just take his legs out, put the pilot on his batteries. I think it'll be a nice kit. Yeah, there's some repairs, and I wasn't too thrilled with the pull-pull system in the tail. Fitz will do what he wants to do with it. There was some minor damage, and there's a lot of slack now in those. So he needs to check the structure.
Yeah, I'm going to go through it all and dig through the motor box, see what I have to stick on there. But it was just a neat plane. I had a chance to fly it too earlier. I don't know if it was earlier there. And it was just sort of a nice lazy flyer or something you just kind of relax, kind of do flight a pattern, touch and goes, some very, very mild aerobatics with it. It was just neat. It's just a cool looking plane that you don't see ever.
Yeah. I always like the look of that airplane.
Yeah, it was.
So it begs the question, Fitz. Well, it begs two questions. One, where the heck did you put it? Because you seem to be overwhelmed by projects. Are you going to answer?
Oh, it's not like you said two. You said one.
Yeah, well, that's the
first. In case there's a second one.
There's one coming. Answer the first one first.
Okay, so Terry, you're very perceptive. So there's something I haven't told you guys.
Okay, he bought a mansion.
No,
a castle.
No, I bit the bullet and got a storage shed.
Oh no!
To store stuff.
Oh no!
like a tough shed?
No, actual one of those places you rent. You go.
A storage unit.
Storage unit. Excuse me, storage unit.
Okay, there's a storage shed is what you put in your backyard. Storage unit is where you take stuff to.
Yeah, so I actually rented a storage unit to offload a bunch of stuff into there.
So you can pay for your airplanes every month over and over again.
Yeah, I know. It was a tough. Well, fortunately, the price is not too bad, but that's the reason why I did it, because the price was pretty reasonable. But yeah, I'm not sure how long I'll have it, but it's one of those things that, like, maybe I should get this and just put a couple planes in. Next thing I know, there's a lot of planes in there now.
This is like, my 8th trip.
Yeah, I was like, oh my God, how did I fit this in the garage? So yeah, that's what I did, Terry. I actually sprung for a shed.
All right.
I'm just using my son's room. My yellow aircraft P-38 is sitting against his window. He's my storage unit.
So yeah, there's one that's fairly close, not too far away from where I live, and pretty decent size. I can drive right up to it and offload it easily. It's not climate controlled, but whatever.
Neither is your
but
garage.
It makes a nice staging point for some models that are not finished, or larger stuff, so I can clear out some space.
Or stuff Lee breaks, so I have to pay for it. And
yeah, that too. So that's where it is now. That's why I stuck it there for the time being while I work on some other stuff. And it gives me, time to sort out things if I want to sell something. I at least time to think it over or separate them, whatever.
He probably put like 20 planes that were on top of his DeLorean in there.
I did have to clean off the car. Yeah, there's a couple planes on it right now, but I'm trying to keep it clean.
All right. So question number 2. When are you going to work on this thing?
I don't know. It's on a back burner. At first I thought, well, maybe I can get it ready for best, but I'm just not going to I got some other stuff working on, so I'm not going to get to it. I don't know. I won't say anything. I might get a bee in my bonnet and pull it out and work on it over the holidays or something. You never know.
All right.
If I take some time off or something.
Let us know when you get it going. Yeah. That's pretty cool. I mean, it's a interesting method that you guys got there. And I'm sure you felt, even though
Not
it obviously
planned.
wasn't your fault, I know you felt horribly.
Oh, I did. I made, especially how far back it went, And
Well,
I also
yeah,
felt bad for
yeah.
Mike Liable because Mike nearly hit a truck. That thing was like a bullet. So,
Yeah.
they said he was only about 50 feet from hitting a pickup truck which I'm glad you were talking about this, because one unfortunate thing about bombers, we lost the field behind the pits. There used to be a parking field. So they
lot,
sold the land. And so all cars had to park along the whole road now to a certain point. So we
Which
had more
lines
cars.
around in front of the approach into the runway.
Is close. Yeah.
Watching that video, you can see the B-24 jump the ditch, and then it goes behind a truck. You're like, yeah.
Yeah, I'm not
What's
sure
that
why
doing
they
there?
were parked that far out, because it was parking further back on the other side of the field. They extended the parking lot, but I don't know why there was so many cars near the runways.
So Terry, you and I went one time, but do you remember how far back you've ever parked, like towards the tank, little town? Do you remember going back
Do you
there?
remember the takedown or the old, they had an old pond there?
Yeah, I remember those things, but I don't remember parking anywhere near the runway.
See, this is the first time I had to park so far down. I actually came down the other direction of where tents were, where people were. Normally, I just go down there once I show up and take pictures and then come back. I actually had to park and walk down that way. So it was crowded, and it's good. I mean, happy for them to have so many people there. And Mike McCormick, our friend with the P-38 Lightning, he's one of the, he's one of the do-alls. He's just a handyman out there. But he was standing next to me during right after the B-52, and we were looking at the stands, and he was right. It was elbow to elbow up there. And he said, this is probably one of the busiest times I've ever seen Bomber.
All right. That's good. That's good. All right. Well, I was going to say earlier, I'm glad the radio still didn't work after the crash, because there was a definitive answer of what happened, and it exonerated you, because that would have made you feel even worse, I'm sure, if it was questionable. So anyway, considering what happened, I think it's a really good outcome. So yay.
We did make lemonade out of lemons, but it was just an awful, gut-wrenching feeling to see someone else's plane go down with your hands on it.
Yeah. Faux show.
Should have gone back there and just punched Ryan. Damn you for letting me fly your plane. But I, again, couldn't ask for a sweeter guy. And someone had asked me, has it ever happened to you? Have you ever let someone fly your planes? I've had a kid crash a plane at either Camp AMA or something. But, you go in knowing if you're handing that over, it's something may happen. Yeah. And you do. You just go, okay, it's okay. And you make sure that they're okay, because I think maybe we've talked about this. The ones who stay in the hobby are the ones who have a crash and keep coming back. You get some people who crash and they get mad about the cost or all the time that they wasted, and they're done. They throw their hands up in the air. But those people that come back after a crash, they're the ones who get addicted.
Yeah.
So you reminded me of a story of somebody I knew at a event a long time ago, electric event, and another guy had asked him to test fly an aircraft. It was like a P-51 or something, fairly large for electric at the time. And they take off, and it was immediately evident it was terribly tail heavy. And so it flopped around the sky for a bit and then went in, and it was just obliterated. And that guy was just kind of devastated.
The pilot or the owner?
The owner was pretty upset. Although the pilot says, "Hey, did you check everything out? I'll test fly it, but you're responsible for making sure this plane is in flyable condition. Please don't hold me responsible if something goes wrong." And it's a good thing he said that, because something really went wrong, and it was he neglected to balance it.
Yeah, I've got a standard disclaimer that I say to people when they ask me to maiden planes, which goes pretty much like that. I'm going to do my best with it, and I'll treat it like my own airplane. But if something happens,
Yeah.
And speaking of that, I helped one of my club members remaiden one of their planes a few days ago. I'm not sure which brand it was, but it was a Spitfire. And my understanding was it had been crashed a few years ago, and they repaired it, and they were getting ready to fly it again. And so he asked me to take it up. And so I did my own little pre-flight on it and found that the ailerons were reversed. So we fixed that. And then, took it off, and I did a couple orbits with it, got it trimmed out. Everything was fine. And I brought it back in for a landing. And then after it stopped, I couldn't taxi back. It had no throttle. And then we were able to repeat that. So I was like, oh, if that had happened as I was, before I landed, that would have been bad. Because unlike the movie Dunkirk, Spitfires do not make great gliders.
I was rolling my eyes like, how long is he going to glide this thing?
Glide forever. It's a pretty good movie, but that part was like, please.
I mean, the best part was that I was with Austin watching that, and Austin looked over, was like, what? He was like, what is this? I was like, I don't know, son. Some producer stepped in and said, what would be really cool? Can we stretch this out for 5 minutes?
Yeah.
So anyway, I'm glad that flight ended the way it did. It could have been another one of those tense situations where there's a broken airplane and nobody's really to blame, but everybody feels bad about it. So, bullet dodged.
Well, there's the story for you. We saved that for you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much.
Other little notes, Fitz just chime in. I'm going to talk about Mike McCormick. He brought his Zeroli P-38. I've actually flew with him 2 years ago. We flew together. It's funny. I have a video of me taxiing with him, and I've got my little flight line P-38. It's just a little tiny drone. It's like an X-15 to the B-52. But we did. It was fun to fly with him, and I was really hoping to have that Legend model P-38, the 90-inch P-38. Fitz saw the parts in the hobby shop when he came over to stay Friday night. There was just no way I was going to have that done. But poor Mike, something went wrong with his Phoenix controllers, and he could not get them to sync. And Fitz helped him, and I gave him some advice, and there was just nothing we could do. So something happened to those controllers to the point where they just would not start up.
They wouldn't start
Both
up.
of them.
Yeah, both. It was just odd. You think one maybe going wonky, but both.
Yeah, because he separated them too. He tried to anyway. He could not fly, and I felt bad because he was all set up and ready to go, but and I really wanted to see it.
Yeah. Bummer.
So little things like that. We had a couple other crashes, minor ones. I mean, you didn't get to see the whole B-17, but that nose was beat up. But that team with Ryan and Mike Liable and the other guys, they did a really good job gluing it back together. Yeah, I don't think the guy flew it on Saturday though.
He didn't, but it looked like it was ready to fly.
It did.
When I first saw it, the nose was completely broken off, and it was bits of wood everywhere. And by the end of Saturday, it was back to looking in the flyable condition.
Yeah.
Cool.
Hey, Fitz, did any B-17 crash this year? That one. Hello. I was thinking of that. I wasn't there. I wasn't there for that one. So in my mind, I was thinking while I was there.
There was another plane that had crashed. I saw it in the pits. No, it was this single engine something. Texan, maybe? Can't remember what it was. It was pretty beat up. I mean,
there was a P-47. I have a photo of one. There was a P-47 that was in pieces. Like the nose was completely.
Yeah.
And I wasn't there. That was probably Friday morning or something.
Yeah, but I don't think there was too much other. I mean, there were a couple of rough landings, but I don't remember.
Yeah, a couple of landings.
Crash.
A lot of carnage this year. It was good.
No, that was good.
And,
Oh, we should
and I was
mention-
part of it. I was part of the carnage.
Yeah, you did your part for King and Country. We should mention the rather unusually powered Key 43 Oscar.
Oh. No. I don't have the photo. I did look. I didn't have a photo of it, so Terry doesn't know what you're talking about.
Not a clue.
So we were, I was with somebody. We were just sort of near the flight line, and this, the Hangar 9 Oscar, the one that's got the silver and modded,
The
olive
one
drab paint
you
scheme.
got overly friendly with. In
Yeah, the
California?
one I was fondling at the show a couple years ago.
Which is my profile photo for you when you call me. It's
Yeah.
you hugging that
Is
Oscar
it?
is your profile photo. Yes.
That is nice. I really need to find a way to get one of those, although they're not in production anymore. But for some reason, it goes out of production, and I swear there was like 3 or 4 of them there at Bomber Field this year. They suddenly got really popular, even though they're no longer made, or at least for now. But anyways, I've heard good things about how they fly. And so one was coming in to land, and the other guy was like, "Is that electric? I can't really hear it." And he goes, "No, it's a turboprop."
Oh, that's cool.
And so some guy
it's
shoves
not cool. It's
he
wrong.
shoved a turboprop in it. The turbine engine. I don't know what size engine it is. Sorry. And it's on a gearbox, and it is way overpowered. There's a cool scene. I think Lee got it taken off, and it sort of accelerates a little bit, kind of slow, and it hits like 5th gear or something, and just jerks itself into the air. And it's a turboprop powered Oscar. The Japanese certainly didn't have that in World War II.
I'm pulling this stuff right from my raw file of my Sony
Is it?
camera. So guys,
Yeah.
I'm just grabbing it here, but this is it taking off. But
We're showing a
it's
picture of
quiet, Terry.
It's very
It's
quiet.
Surprisingly
Smoke.
quiet.
Oh man, the gear goes up.
Yeah,
It's a space shuttle.
It's got a bit of a gear noise when it flies up, flies around.
Yeah.
You can hear it's just a very distinctive sound to it. And I was like, man, it's just like it's both wrong and awesome at the same time.
Yeah, it's neat.
He did a good job fitting it in there. I mean, you had to look close. You see the exhaust pipes, but they're not too obnoxious. But it's like, okay.
Zoom.
Yeah, very clever.
Yeah, very, very clever. Yeah, I'll give him that.
Yep. So that was a unique model. Yep.
Yeah. I don't know. Anything else, Lee? You can think of? Catches you.
Oh, the F-86. Do I have the video of the
Oh
F-86?
yeah, really big. Another one with I don't know what the wingspan one was.
Let me see if
12-foot wingspan or something like that.
I don't know if this is me or Ryan, but here's the F-86. Look how big this sucker is.
There was a big F-86 and it
That's big.
was a monster.
And
Do
it
you
flew
know
very
what
well.
it is?
Yeah,
No.
I think it had relatively light wing loading for that size too.
Yeah, you would think.
Yeah, it was drop tanks. There's also a pretty big F-16 out there as well, all composite. I saw a picture of one of the guys standing next to a giant A-10, but I don't remember seeing it out there. So maybe it was Thursday or something.
right.
What's
else?
this ugly plane?
Oh, there's my Bearcat.
Oh.
There it is, with the nose off. Yeah, in case I did that in case I wanted to tune the engine or something. So
Yeah, I get it.
it is. I have it set a little bit on the rich side, which is what they recommend. So I figured it got a little bulky or something to the temperature or whatever. And it's swing a really big prop. I was a little worried about the ground clearance. So I want to put a 3-blader on to give me a little more ground clearance, but it got up real quick. But you can
Here's
see me porpoising. Yeah.
I'm trying to stay with him.
I was like, oh my God. Ooh.
I think that's a
Like I get the
skill
gear up.
feature of a Bearcat too, right? I think they couldn't sit level on the mains because the prop would touch.
Oh yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, probably has such a big engine in it.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
So, yeah, once I got the gear up, and I sort of just throttled back and set the trims and just sort of calibrated my right thumb and fingers to not be too jerky on it. And flew around for a few minutes just to get the feel of it. Thanks, Lee, for videotaping it. I plan on having a build and review video of it, putting all this stuff together.
Are they still available?
Yeah, as far as I know, yes. Was it Warbird Models? He's a local guy, Chris Hogg. He was there. He wasn't. He had a small booth, but he didn't have all of his models. But actually, I had asked him to come on the show at some point. We'll have him on. He imports a lot of really large scale models. This was, I think, an 86-inch span. This is probably one of his smaller models.
All right.
Yeah, there it is with the cowl on. I really wanted to try with the cowl and make it look nice. Dumb me, forgot to plug. Oh, I should tell the story about the battery. So I forgot the actual retract battery I was using. It just used a little 2-cell LiPo. But fortunately, I had brought an extra battery of similar size from the VQ Warbird, from the VQ B24, because I went recently, literally just a couple of days ahead of time, bought a high voltage LiPo for the B24 to see if I could get a little more power into the retracts. And so I just brought the other one as a backup. But it had the wrong battery connector on it. And so I went over to one of the vendors and I said, hey, what kind of adapters do you have? Well, you had a couple of different ones, but not the one I needed. And I'm thinking, well, this is the connector on the battery. This is the connector I need. What do I have that can get in between those two? And we ended up getting 3 different adapters.
I told you not to tell Terry. I said Terry's going to have a fit if you tell him that.
I took a picture somewhere, but
there's 2 JSDs, right?
It goes from a what's on the battery. I needed the red JST to go into the retract module. The battery has the XT30, is it? The little tiny XT
yellow one.
The little yellow XT connector. I think it's XT30. Yeah. So he had an XT30 to a
XT90.
No, it was an XT30 to a the Deans, the cross Deans. What do we call it?
Ultra?
Deans Ultra, right.
Yeah.
And then he had a Deans Ultra to a EC30. Yeah, and then the EC30 to the red
alligator clips.
Yeah, basically.
That's great.
But it's just running the retracts. I didn't care about voltage drop or anything else. It didn't take much, so it was crude but effective, as I like to say. It got my retracts working.
About this clip here, and I don't know if you guys can see it on the screen. I'm not sure if the viewers, obviously the listeners can. I'm not sure the viewers can, but I'm watching my view screen, and I can see it in my screen here to my right, but I'm watching Fitz's engine surge, and I'm wondering if you guys can see this when I play it. I wonder, you know what? I wonder if I can play back the speed to slower. All right, so does it say speed slower? I'm going to try this again. Stand by.
Yeah, it did briefly.
Speed slower.
So I wasn't going crazy when I said I heard it doing something wonky.
I'll just say slower. Okay, so I'm going to push play here, and that's not making a difference. Yeah, I can. But if you watch the prop, you can see it not cycling very well.
Not being consistent in RPM.
Can you see it? Can y'all see the RPM? And I was trying. Fitz wasn't near me. You can't see it. I can see it, but see how it's like surging?
I can see the prop, but
it's probably a little bit on it. There it is. This when it quits. There you go.
Yeah. So here's the actual. He did it pretty good. Watch this. Watch his landing. It's not bad. He got applause.
Okay.
Not bad. But I can tell something was not working.
And it was fairly far away, so it was hard for me to judge where the ground was. I was like, Go ahead. I'm sorry, Jerry.
You said you're running a big prop on there. Do you think that's contributing to the overheating?
No, I have to. Had to run a prop like that. I actually had too small of a prop. It's got a 2412 is what I flew with. I put a 2410, and I couldn't go above half throttle. It was over speeding. They have very specific instructions. Say don't overspeed it. And so I was tacking it, and so I put the other prop on and tacked it. And so that was not over prop. It was exactly what they recommended.
Huh. All right.
But if you look at the plane, the cowl, the inlet of the cowl is a little on the small side. And I cut, you can't see it in the video, but I cut a slot in the bottom of the cowl off for air exhaust. And it's got baffles in it too. I put the baffles in. But I think it just wasn't enough. It might have been one of the top cylinders got overheated. I didn't put the temp gauge on it. So I wanted to do some surgery, put it on, tack it, temp it, and see how that does. Is that me?
That's you.
Oh yeah, it is. Okay, there's me coming in with the B-24, a little bit of a hard landing, but and there's the nose gear being wonky on me. Fortunately, I had the foresight to put the nose gear on a separate channel, so I can adjust the trim and the nose individually, separately
that's
from the
handy.
rudder, and that came in really handy for that.
All right. So we've talked for an hour and a half now about Bomber, which is good. There's a lot to unpack there. Is there any more we want to go over?
I don't know. Anything else we missed?
No, thanks everybody
couple of notes.
for showing up. Randy Larson doing great stuff. Fitz, thanks for having your planes out there. I enjoyed hanging out with you.
I should mention I probably flew the most this time than I've done in years out there. Usually I don't fly a whole lot because I'm videotaping or talking and stuff, and I still got a lot of talking done, but I actually flew the Bearcat twice, and I flew the Bomber a whole bunch of times, probably 4 times, I think, something like that.
Cool.
So it was neat is every time you flew, you can go up and you can get a ticket and put the ticket in one of the raffle things. So that encouraged you to fly. And so I was shoving all my tickets into one particular airplane, which I did not win.
Boo-hoo.
Well,
One less airplane in the storage shed now.
Yeah. You're not going to forget that, are you?
Nope.
So anyways, so it was a good show, very, very well run this year. Some good food, lots of raffle. I mentioned raffle. They actually had a lot of stuff that they were raffling off, a whole lot of stuff. And it was great to see the guys flying around, and I think it was a relatively incident-free event.
So if I'm keeping score correctly, Lee flew one time.
Right. Ish.
Just flying. Yeah, but it's like, was it landed?
One takeoff, 0 landings.
Yeah. He took off. It didn't quite land, but he got some stick time.
All right. Well, you had something ready, something of your own ready next year. And have you been working on the P-38 since, Bomber? No. All right. Well, don't let it go. Pick it back up and carry it over the finish line.
It will.
Yeah,
I just I have no desire. I mean, I have other things that I need to do. Because of that.
I know what you're going to do. I know it. I saw that.
Best is next week.
Best is next week. It's exactly a week away, folks.
Best Electric in South Texas.
I'm just going to leave this on the screen for you.
One of them are acronyms, folks. Look at that.
Does it? Yeah, it's not. For some reason, I can't get the whole.
I have to say, 3 of those planes are mine. Well, one formerly was mine.
BV-141.
One of those humans is mine.
One of those airplanes was mine.
Yeah, and Plywood Overcast is there.
See Plywood Overcast, a shuttle.
And our tents are right there.
22.
And I'm right there, and Fitz is right there.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if I can zoom in. Oh, look, I can zoom in. So there's Ryan wearing I Know Fitz Walker.
Yeah. Ryan's a new owner.
With the thank you again, Fitz. This is the plane Fitz did a review on, and he gave it to Ryan.
Glad he's enjoying it.
Fitz is there, and Big Fat Turd is right there. Our buddy Kirk Jensen's right there.
It's just the wide angle lens. I'm going to say, the A10. I was working on that the other day. I had a hard landing with it and ripped the landing gear out. And so I figured, I wonder if I can get it ready for best. So I've been tinkering with it.
You don't need landing gear for an A10. There's grass.
No. Well, this one, remember, I put brakes on it.
You don't need brakes.
So, we needed brakes. That sucker.
Get those furniture sliders. Just put the furniture sliders on. Just let it go.
Did I tell you a story about this, the A10, the paint scheme on this? Did I ever mention that? I might have. I don't want to repeat it.
You did it on a previous podcast.
Okay, I won't say anything.
Right.
Make him look.
For those who have been living under a rock since we started this podcast, Best is like the home event for us.
It's where we met.
Now, but
it's where we fell in love.
That's it. Yeah.
Our first date.
Airplanes.
Yeah. All electric, obviously. You get people from all over Houston, from all over Dallas, everywhere in between. Sometimes further away.
Sometimes further away.
Yeah,
Gary Wright
from pretty
came
far
one
away.
time. Tony
Came from
Rickerso.
Florida.
Yeah.
Tony from California.
Yeah.
It varies. So yeah,
So-
we've got some people. Hopefully,
Yeah.
one time Terry from Wisconsin.
I endeavor to do that. It's
Yeah.
not this year. Sorry. But yeah, I'll get back there. So it looks like the planned dates are just Saturday and Sunday, the 5th and 6th.
It's like
Yeah.
that every year.
And
Nobody pays attention to that.
Yeah, it's really, I mean, for guests and first timers, I guess, who are in the area, just want to come, it's a Saturday thing. Sunday is just for the diehards to stay a little longer. And in fact, last year, if I remember correctly, Fitz, we decided to go ahead and we decided to do the raffle on Saturday. So we didn't do any raffle on Sunday. And everybody was on board for that because there were more people there. And so I think that's what it might turn into in the future, is just a one-day event, and I think the club would like that. However, the rest of us are going to stay Thursday through Sunday.
Yeah,
We're grandfathered in.
yeah. I'm planning in there sometime Thursday, depending on how quickly I can get out of work.
I've got so much on my mind to talk about it. Terry's got his mouth open. He's going to ask a question. Go, Terry. What did you want to say?
No, I was just going to make another statement. Like Bomber, this is another event on the edge of Houston, this being the northern edge of Houston.
Yeah,
That's it.
yeah. And it's nice that it's there because we end up getting quite a few people out of the Dallas-Fort Worth area because it shaves off a bunch of time from them getting there since it's so far north of Houston. So it probably shaves an hour off their transit time if we had anywhere else in Houston.
Yeah.
And I want to thank the members of Tri-County Barnstormers for letting us have the event again. There was some concern we wouldn't have it. Kirk Jensen had bowed out gracefully. Kirk, thank you for all the years you put your heart and soul into the event and keeping us happy. And it was a lot for you to do. And so I don't think any of us had any problems with you just stepping back. And we were just grateful, it didn't till June, I guess, did we know it was going to happen. And so the new president, Joe, he's been chatting with me, and I've been sending him emails like, hey, is there anything else we can do? We're happy to help. And we've always had, members who show up early. I remember going to the hardware store down the street to get a tree trimmer, just to go buy something, and said, hey, just put it in your shed. We'll cut down some limbs. And at this point, the trees are so big, we've decided to move our tents back. We actually we moved back, put our planes under the trees now. And so we've actually parked further away, but it works out great. And it's such a wonderful time. So those of you, hopefully we'll have this out before Best starts. Last minute, if you can make it, please come out to Tri-County Barnstormers in New Waverly, Texas. Come hang out with us. We're at the north end. Ask the staff, where's RC Roundtable? They'll tell you where we are. We'll be sitting next to Sparky. My buddy Steve will be down there. We're doing a potluck dinner Friday night. He does a mean brisket, and I think we all have something on our list to bring. And as far as planes goes, I was going to tack on that real quick. The two planes I'm working on, there's no way I'm going to have that P-38 done. But my T-33 I wanted to get out. This is the one that I was having problems with the Jetty controller and LVC.
The Kyosho?
The Kyosho T-33. This is, I've had it for a while, and I enjoy flying it. It's just a gentle EDF.
The classic.
So replacing it's just a little tough because of how everything is situated in there. So here are the fun stories that we talk about. I can't find my long hemostats, like my 10-inch hemostats. And the problem is the wires are embedded in the tail cone, way in there. And nothing I have will reach to pull out the old control. So it's like today I was looking at Harbor Freight, they've got 10.5-inch hemostats and then some other little claws of some sort. And I was going to go. I was like, I can't miss the podcast, so I'll go tomorrow. But I just need these long tools to go grab the wires. But I'm going to get that done. I'm going to bring my CMP Cub this year, Fitz, because you had me talking about it when we were at Bomber. And I was sitting there complaining, like, I don't have anything that'll work at Bomber. And I completely forgot that the CMP Cub is 90 inches. It's like, I could have packed that sucker. I was like, dang it. I probably wouldn't have had time to fly it anyway. We were so busy there. But I'm going to dust that sucker off and then bring it out there. And I got a couple other planes I'm going to bring. I don't think you've seen the new P-47, one of the Sparky's cartoon planes.
No.
But I flew his P-47 stock like last year, and I had a problem with the motor. It failed on me. Like the magnets flew out and it was really bad. So I replaced that, and I've flown it since then. It flies really good. So I'll bring Sparky's cartoon P-47 out.
Nice.
I've got a list. I think I'll stop right there, but I'm trying to keep it low. So my list is 10 right now. I know. I see your eyes rolling, Terry. But guess what? I also have Ryan's planes to bring, and he was running off planes like this. And our job this coming. He is. Ryan will drive. Ryan is driving.
Yeah.
Little one.
His own pickup truck.
Little one is now driving his pickup truck on Saturday. And our job Saturday, this weekend Saturday, is to finish his B-25. Like, I'm all in. I told him, we're going to get the tent out in the driveway. We're going to bring all the parts out. We're going to divvy up tasks, and we're going to have his Banana Hobbies B-25 done. So honestly, that's the kit I really want to make sure is running. The T-33 should go pretty quickly, but the B-25, I think he'll be happy. He'll enjoy it. And that's our bird. Now, Fitz, what are you bringing?
Not entirely sure. I'm one of those things that probably not going to be completely sure until a couple of days beforehand. At least I will be bringing the B-24 and the A-10 I was just talking about. So I'll be bringing a trailer, so I'll be able to...
runway big enough for comfort with the B-24?
We'll find out.
And if I recall, it's
okay.
pretty smooth, right? It's
very smooth, yeah.
A garage floor, so even if you hit the brakes, you go.
I don't have any brakes, so we'll just have to see how it does. I'll bring it out.
Ryan, go out there and stop it.
Yeah, how about it? Lee, you reminded me, I have the cartoon 109. Maybe I'll bring that. I haven't flown that in quite a while.
There you go. Let's do that.
Something else? Yeah, I was kind of thinking, I'm looking right at it. You mentioned the Brit Norman Islander last podcast. I might wipe the dust off of that and see if I get that flying.
All right, cool. Did that fly with lipos last time you flew it, or is it still a nightcap?
I honestly don't remember. So long ago, I actually don't remember. I think it did, but like Gen 1 lipos, I think.
Okay. That'll be fun.
I don't know. What else? I might bring something. I have batteries for that. I'm not sure. I'm just whatever I feel like. Oh, maybe the. I don't know. I don't know yet. I'll bring stuff.
Good. All right. You'll be there.
I'll be there. I'll be there with stuff.
Well, if anybody listening is going, make sure you go find those guys, get yourself a sticker, and a kiss from Lee or Fitz.
Yeah.
Don't let Lee fly your airplanes. No, it's going to be great.
I'm jealous. You guys are going to have fun.
Well, and we had some, I don't know, about 3 years ago. Well, it's going to be before COVID. We had some really hot weather that was just devastating. And then last year wasn't actually too bad. We had more wind, but it actually cooled things down. But this year, it looked like we're getting a front in a couple of days come through. And so we might just be in the upper 90s, but in the mid 60s at night. So I will bring a night plane and a chair and do some night flying. I'm actually thinking of bringing an old slow stick.
There you go.
Old slow stick that I have some LEDs on just to fly, just for fun.
All right. So my personal philosophy is any weather forecast more than 3 days out is just hocus pocus. Nobody has any clue.
Yeah,
so
I agree. I tend to agree.
So hopefully it'll cool off for you by then.
Oh, maybe I'll bring my TA-152.
Hey, speaking of weather, Lee, there's a little storm making its way around Florida right now. How's Austin doing with that?
He's doing okay. You kind of caught me off guard. I would have showed you the photo I shared with you guys earlier for our viewers here. But you can go look it up. How's that for those of you listening? At Embry-Riddle Daytona, they built a parking garage. And one of the caveats, and let's just put it this way. I don't think they built the parking garage for student cars. It was not designed for student cars. I think cars are secondary. Because what they have done because of the hurricane right now, Helene, that's on its way on the west side, but they're concerned about the airplanes out in Daytona Beach. They've taxied all the aircraft into the parking garage. All the Cessnas are there's a great photo of them all tied down, and a lot. Just like I mean, more than 20, I'm guessing, but a lot of Cessnas tied down inside the parking garage. So they had all the students move their cars out. Austin's good. He's staying there. And I think so far, they're going to get rain. They're not getting the brunt of it. And I might as well stop here real quick and just say we're very concerned for our friends in Florida and anywhere north of where that hurricane is going to hit. Being from Texas, I've been through one this year. Fitz and I have both been through a hurricane this year. And and the eye went right over my house. So yeah, it sucks. But Category 4, just prayers out to everybody and their family and their friends who are in the path of this thing. I have some good friends that are in South Carolina that are getting doused with rain at this moment, and it's not going to stop for the next day or two. So this podcast is likely afterwards. So again, hope everybody is safe at this time, and hope there is stuff we can do to help you guys recover.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'm glad that Austin's hunkered down. I remember when I was there, was it a nor'easter? Something came through that didn't have the warning like a hurricane does, and there was lots of wind, and it damaged one of the big buildings, but also turned a bunch of airplanes upside down out on the ramp. Yeah. So were you there for that, Fitz?
I might have been.
This would have been like 93, maybe. Anyway.
No, I wasn't. I didn't get there till 94.
Okay.
End of 94, beginning of 94, something like that.
When did you graduate high school?
So I took the scenic route. Sure. I collect colleges.
Okay.
So
you can tell me the full story offline.
I didn't tell you offline, but yeah, I was a bit delayed.
Okay. Fair enough. Anyway, so the point of my story was, yeah, they have had damage of airplanes before. So anyway, yeah, hope all is well with Austin and everybody else in the path, including I've got lots of
parents
family there, so yeah. And I've got an uncle right there in the way of that thing. So yeah, best of luck to everybody. All right. What else we have?
Well, speaking of Florida.
Oh yeah, Florida man.
And by the way, I would say protect your eyes when I show this screen if you're watching, because it's about to get crazy. But, hello. This is the most wildest fly.
Girls.
Officially right now, I am heading to Jets Over DeLand, November 7th, 8th, and 9th in DeLand, Florida. It is a 2-party event. I'm going to go see my son for, early Thanksgiving, because he's not coming home this year for Thanksgiving. And he's hopefully going to be volunteering because this is his club. And my wife and I are going to go and take a little vacation. And then Fitz might show up. Hello, everybody. Fitz says he's going to try to make it. So guys, in DeLand, Florida, Jets Over DeLand, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, this used to be the big event. And then it became Florida Jets. And then Florida Jets became defunct. And now it's back to Jets Over DeLand. And a shout out to the club because they put this on this year. Like, we didn't know Jets Over Florida was not going to happen until the beginning of this year. So these guys have been working their butts off to make it happen. So my buddy, Andy Griffith, your buddy too, our buddy, how we do it that way. He will be there. I don't
even like him that much. So
okay, so Fitz and Lee's buddy, yeah. Andy Griffith will be there.
He made my F-16.
And now that he's going to listen to this podcast, he may not let me fly the Jets. He was planning to let me fly for him.
Our former buddy.
Yeah, I'm going to make him take off and fly it first and make sure it's okay. But he said he'd bring some planes down for me. So yay. I'm looking forward to that. Cool. So, and by the way, the name on this is Mike Sedicati. He is the president. Very nice guy. We've had some nice chats, worked with him to get their FRIA. And I'm really happy for them. So I'm looking forward to hanging out with these guys in November.
So I have a question. Just what the heck is an Aero Panda?
This?
What is that? It's a mean-looking panda. I want to fly the hell out of this airplane. Okay, I have to look that up. I never heard of that.
All right. So put that on your calendar too. If you're out in Florida
Yeah.
and you want to come hang out with us and see some jets, meet us out there November 7th, 8th, and 9th. Go to delandrc.com for more information.
It's going to be fun, you guys.
Fun, fun, fun.
You
So,
guys?
Fitz, are you planning to take stuff to fly?
No, I'll be flying in. So
You'll be flying
we'll
indie
have to.
stuff.
We'll have to bum off of somebody.
You're observating. All right.
Observing, yeah. Maybe videotaping,
Oh, yeah. Okay.
depending
Cool.
if I have a camera or not.
You can take a camera on the plane.
Well, I'll be
I
bringing
know,
all my
but
stuff.
I can't bring my normal camera. Is not. I'd have to get a new camera. I've been debating getting another camera.
Oh,
because
you
the other
just.
one-
Oh, you had the screen go out on the wall.
Yeah, the screen is broken, so it's not easy to videotape moving objects with the separate screen on it. It
Right,
just doesn't
yeah.
work. I had somebody try the other week, and it was barely usable. So
Huh.
I'm going to have to.
And you
bite
bought
the
that
bullet.
brand new?
I bought it brand new, and I don't know how Lee's is working so well, but mine, the screen just died. Maybe because I use it a lot. I probably use it 3 times more than Lee does because I used it for a lot of the videotape of the builds and stuff.
Shots fired.
No. I mean the cycle rate of the screen coming out. I'm sure I use
he's
it a
talking
lot
about
more
his
than Lee does.
OnlyFans. His
Well, yeah,
OnlyFans
that too,
show.
but the only no fans. But Lee brings his out the videotape stuff out the field.
He needs that
once
lipo
a
money.
month. Me, I'm using it quite a few times in the workshop, and so I think it just couldn't take the cycles of the screen opening and closing so many times. Yeah. Well, hey, shop, bedroom, whatever.
Yeah. You have an active YouTube channel. We got it.
That's how he affords the shed.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's where some of the advertising money is going to now.
Oh man. Well, this has been a long show. We've talked a lot about Bomber, and we talked about Best coming up, and I don't want to make it linger too much longer. Was there anything else you wanted to tack on, Terry? Anything happening in your neck of the woods?
Yeah, anything like that?
No, nothing big comes to mind. But if something pops up, I'll mention it on a future show.
Mention the fly-ins are winding down now that winter's coming in fall.
Yeah, my club's having one. It's just kind of a local thing for basically the end of summer, and we're combining it with a cleanup day to get all the stuff that we've had out all summer, put it away. We fly through the winter because a lot of us like to fly off snow. But yeah, it's just kind of a wrap up of the good flying weather for this season. But yeah, that's the only thing I'm aware of right now. We're probably moving into swap meet season here pretty soon. So yeah, I might be getting my own storage shed if this keeps up.
You've got that attic.
Yeah, that's true. I've still got some attic space. I've got a whole other attic too that I haven't even shown you yet. There's nothing in it now. And
The auxiliary
I think the
attic.
next time we show up, I want to see the little lazy Susan that lifts you up and lifts you down. Or I'm sorry, that's not a lazy Susan. Lazy Susan is what spins around, right? I meant the waiter,
Lift?
the dumb waiter.
yeah. All right. Well, I think it's time to take us home, Fitz.
All right. Well, this concludes another fun-filled episode of the RC Roundtable with Lee, Terry, and myself. So, anyways, if you got any comments, suggestions, hate mail, send it to Terry at contact@rcroundtable.com. Be sure to like and subscribe this channel and any other places you get this show from. Please do that. Every time you like and subscribe, an angel gets its wings.
Click the bell on YouTube.
Click the bell, yeah, so you get notifications of great stuff. But thanks anyways, you guys, to all our devoted listeners and watchers. We really appreciate you guys. It was great meeting you people out in various flying fields, and we always love to talk to you. And on that note, I think we will see you next time, hopefully after we've done a few fly-ins. Guys, got any last words?
No, we'll talk to him. The next podcast will be Best Follow-Up.
Yeah,
That's right.
we'll do best. And work has begun on RC Rescue number 2. Number 2.
All right,
Coming
number
your way
2.
soon.
All right.
That's it.
All right. We'll see you later, and have a good night.
Please visit our website at rcroundtable.com. That's where you will find all of our podcast episodes. You can also find a little bit of background information about the show host and leave comments and suggestions about the show. There are links to a few of our favorite vendors and also links to our various social media accounts. Thank you for watching and listening.